Hi. This is another episode of at Straight Lions Talk. I'm your host Travis. You can follow me on Twitter. It's at Straight STR Lions Talk on Twitter. You can follow me there. I didn't think I'd make another show until maybe OTAs or training camp, but I kind of got bored, and this is kind of what I like to do. So let's get at it. We're gonna go over the Lions roster for the 2015 season. We're going to break down a few players that we think might make the team this year. We already know the staples. We're going to start on the back end of the roster and look at some players that kind of maybe on the bubble or maybe on the back end or maybe some backups on this episode. We're going to target two players. It's going to be Larry Webster and TJ Jones, the wide receiver. We'll start with Larry Webster. He's one of my favorite players. I can't wait to watch this guy this year. I just think he's going to have a very, very, very solid season. I think he's going to have a lot of growth, even though he didn't even play a single snap last year. I still think I was excited when we drafted him because of his versatility, and I'm just excited to see him. Let's start with Larry Webster. Larry Webster, we drafted in the fourth round last season, the 2014 draft. We drafted him out of the University of Bloomberg. University of Bloomberg. Like I said, he did not play a single snap last season. The Lions drafted him as a defensive end when he came out of college. Even at the combine, he participated in the tight end drills and the defensive end drills. In college, he played both positions. You watch tape on him, you can see he has natural hands. He turns his hips well to adjust to the ball. Some really good signs. Very athletic kid. This offseason so far, he's gained about 15 pounds of muscle. He's up to about 270. That's a good sign if you're a Lions fan. That's a real good sign. Lions fans should be happy about that. The kid's dedicated himself to getting bigger. His frame had the ability to put more mass on, good muscle mass. One of the problems he had in college is he played too high, which he got away with at that level, at the D2 level, because of his athleticism. But in the pros, they will destroy you if you play too high. They will just manipulate you all over the field. One of the knocks on him was he couldn't convert his speed into power on the edge. So with him gaining weight, hopefully he'll be able to convert that speed into power on the edge, because he's a natural bender. He can bend, get low on the corner, and come around those offensive tackles. So a few things I'm really interested in seeing with Larry Webster this year is how the Lions are going to use him. They're going to play him in a defensive end position, but what I'm more curious about is how Terrell Austin's going to use him to make sure he can succeed at this level. We've brought him along really slow. Like I said, he didn't play a single snap last season. What I hope the Lions do is what the Steelers do, the Ravens do, some of the Packers do it exceptionally well, is they draft these guys in these later rounds, and they're able to just slowly move them along because they have such good depth at their position already. When someone leaves for as a free agent like Willie Young did, we draft this kid, we bring him along slow. Jason Jones will be a free agent next year. Hopefully this kid can plug right in, especially next season, and maybe get his feet wet this season. I hope Terrell Austin has a plan for him. We're going to find out how versatile Terrell Austin is going to be this year. We're going to have a show about Terrell Austin, some of the coaches later on. But for Terrell Austin, this is a big season for him. He needs to make these players be successful in certain situations and come up with schemes that they can be successful in, and maybe not asking them to do too much. But Larry Webster, you can see all the talent. He's an interesting guy. A lot of his combine numbers when he came out were comparable to Jadeveon Clowney, the number one overall pick. Now, before anyone says anything, I'm not comparing him to Jadeveon Clowney. I'm comparing him just by numbers. And that's what the Lions have done more the last 3 years, is drafted guys in the later rounds that had similar numbers to the guys in the early rounds. For instance, D. Milner, who everyone thought we should have taken over Ezekiel Ansah. Now, I like to see people stand up to that quote they made. Darius Slay had the same numbers in a lot of categories. He was taller, his wingspan was longer. He had actually better numbers than D. Milner. The Lions took him I don't know how you guys feel. There's an article out today that D. Milner's fighting for a roster spot, so maybe he will be a Lion by the end of this year, so we'll get him anyway. But I would rather have Darius Slay at this point than D. Milner. I didn't like him coming out of college. I thought the Lions made the right move by not drafting cornerback so early. But Larry Webster and Clowney's numbers were really, really, really high, really, really comparable, to each other. Clowney ran a 4.53 40, and Larry Webster ran a 4.56 40. So, I mean, their speed was comparable. Their vertical jump, Clowney was 37 and a half inches, and Webster was 36 and a half. So, again, an inch. I mean, it's, whatever. Their broad jump was exactly the same, which that shows, the vertical jump and the broad jump show explosion. Clowney's was 10.3 and Larry Webster's was 10.3. Now, I think Clowney was a little heavier than him coming in, and he was more polished. He played against SEC competition every week and dominated, where Webster played more the Division II guys, and he dominated at that position. But imagine what Jadeveon Clowney would do. But it's a good sign that the Lions are taking players like this, and it's a good sign they're in a position where they can take a guy and have him sit for a year. That's a good sign. It's been a lot. I've never seen it as a Lions fan that they could take the time to draft a player and develop them. They usually bring him right in. Oh, he's got to play, and then they fail and they go, oh, he's a bust. Well, sometimes these guys take a little time. That's all. Remember, Aaron Rodgers sat for 4 years. What would have happened if the Packers threw him right in? I mean, we'll never know, but just as something to follow, that's kind of what, it's just good we can bring him along slow. We have the capability, but he needs to be productive this year. I would like to see him maybe get 6 to 8 sacks, be effective in the run game, and just get pressure on the quarterback. He doesn't have to get a sack all the time, but just to get constant and continuous pressure when he's in there, to be effective, to be disruptive in some shape or form. I'm excited to see how he's developed. We have one of the best defensive line coaches in the game, and I'd like to see how he develops Larry Webster for this season and beyond, and maybe his role will be expanded as the season goes, as if he can handle more information. I'm sure the NFL defense is more complex than his defense at Bloomsburg, but I just like to see what he can do. He's probably one of my favorite players to watch. TJ Jones, we're going to talk about here in a second, is another one I'm very, very excited to watch. I just think if these guys can be contributors to us this year, I don't think we'll have that big of a fall off, even though we lost Fairley and Sue. I like Larry Webster. I think this is a good pick for us. He's athletic, and also we can use him on goal line situations as a tight end, 2-point conversion opportunities. He can catch the ball very well. So as he matures in the defense, maybe they'll also let him do a few things on offense. TJ Jones, wide receiver out of Notre Dame, we drafted last season in the 6th round, who was injured and put on injured reserve, never even played for us. If you can watch highlights on TJ Jones on YouTube, you can see why the Lions drafted him. I'm excited they drafted him. He is a very solid player. To get a player like that, that's the type of player you would like to see the Lions or any organization take in the 6th round, because he was an effective college player. He contributed. He was a team captain, highly intelligent. He was effective in college. In the 6th round, I feel like that's what you need to look for, is players that were productive in college, like an Andre Ellington. I wanted the Lions to take him over Theo Riddick, which I like Theo Riddick, but I really liked Andre Ellington. They said he wasn't fast enough. But I think Andre Ellington and TJ Jones have a lot in common, and Theo Riddick in that respect, is that they play faster than their 40 times. TJ Jones, some of his strengths are he is an exceptional route runner, great hands, has awareness while the ball's in the air. He's able to adjust to it. He's able to dip his hips in his route, get his hips low so he can come in and out of his routes very smoothly and explode out of his routes. He played against top competition at Notre Dame. He played against Michigan, Boston College, all the top teams, all the top programs. He played against all of them. And he did very, very well. He's only 6 foot, 188 pounds. I think he'd be our perfect slot guy. He's that guy that gets open all the time, and you don't know how he gets open, but he's an exceptional route runner. And I think he's a lot faster than people give him credit for. He's more football fast than just straight running 40s. I would love to see the Lions be able to turn this kid into something, because we have been just dying for a slot receiver. We just recently signed Lance Moore, which that's a good signing, but as of right now, I see, as my shirt says, Ryan Broyles, his foundation. I think it's going to be Ryan Broyles, TJ Jones, Lance Moore, Calvin, and Golden Tate as our receivers this year. I really think TJ Jones is going to be a diamond in the rough for us. I like the kid. I just think that having that guy in the slot is going to be very beneficial for the Lions. It's going to help Matt Stafford. I think he's not fast enough to take the top off of defense. I think Lance Moore is quite a bit faster, but he's in the same mold as Lance Moore, as he's very effective route runner, and running routes is more of a key than speed, because he's 4.5 all the way through his routes. He doesn't run the route, he doesn't run 4.2, and then when he goes to break his route down, he has to slow down to 6.1 and then try to explode out. He is the same coming in. He's so flexible with his hips. He's able to get low, drop his hips down. Michael Irvin was really good at that back in the day. There's some other guys in the NFL right now, none of them come to my head right off the top of my head. They're exceptional at running routes like that, able to get their hips low and turn and explode in and out of the routes. So, and he's real friendly for a quarterback. He has a lot of field awareness. He's able to adjust things from what he sees that's going to help the quarterback out. Just watch some YouTube tape on him. He's an exceptional route runner. I'm very excited to see TJ Jones this season. So those are my two guys today. We're going to try to go through all of them on the roster. Just in conclusion, Larry Webster, I think, could break out and be a guy that we could maybe rely on. What I would like for him to do is be as good as Ezekiel Ansah was his first season this year. Play the run very well, get pressure. I know you're going to make mistakes, but just hopefully Terrell Austin can put him in positions to be successful. And TJ Jones, wide receiver for the Lions, a 6th-round pick, I would love for the Lions to be able to develop this kid. He came in with a good rep, so it shouldn't be more than just learning the offense, which he had a whole year to learn. With Joe Lombardi having another year to learn how Stafford is and a few other things, I think this could be a big year for the Lions and their offense. And guys like TJ Jones could help. I think Ryan Broyles is going to be a big part of that. I know people are down on him. He had a great preseason last year, but he'll probably be a guy maybe we cover in the next episode. I really like Ryan Broyles. I think he fits what we're trying to do offensively, because we don't need every receiver to be an all-pro. We just need to get a few of these 6th-round picks and 4th-round picks, Larry Webster, TJ Jones, and Ryan Broyles too, because he was an early 2nd-round pick. But we need these late-round picks like the better teams have done to hit. The Seahawks drafted Richard Sherman and Cam Chancellor in the 6th and 5th round, and they turned into all-pros, which that's great. And if TJ Jones wants to be an all-pro, great. And if Larry Webster wants to be an all-pro, great. But I just want him to be effective. I want him to be effective, solid NFL players. And I'm sure the Lions do, and that's why they pick these guys. But that's how you become a consistently good team over the years, is by picking these guys in the later rounds and developing. The Packers have done it all the time. They get these receivers, Randall Cobb, in the later rounds, and they just develop them into good players. But they're always the guy like, oh, hey, there's this guy after Antonio Freeman was there. Donald Driver was the 3rd or 4th receiver, and then he matured into the number 1 receiver, and then he was out. Then it was Greg Jennings. And not saying that TJ Jones is going to be Calvin Johnson. I'm not mistaken that. I just need him to be a solid player. This is how you build a solid NFL roster. I like the pick. I like the pick last year when they made it. I thought it was solid. Well, that's all for this episode. We will be back maybe a week, maybe 2 weeks with another player or two. We're going to try to do one on offense and one on defense every week. I guess I'll see you guys then. You can follow us at Straight Lions Talk on Twitter. It's at capital S, capital T, capital R, capital L, Lions Talk. I look forward to seeing you guys on there, and please leave your comments. Maybe we can carry on a conversation My last 3 videos are no comments. Maybe that's a bad thing. But yeah, leave some comments, good or bad. We'll talk about it. Okay, talk to you guys later.